Hey everybody, welcome to this modeling tutorial. Today we are going to be modeling a cup inside of Maya. I am using Maya 2017. As you can see here, I have a standard Maya layout. I actually just installed this again on my PC. So before we get going, allow me to quickly set up my world here. Since I'm modeling, I don't need a lot of the extra stuff. And one other thing that I like to do is I enjoy floating windows. You may not enjoy floating windows, and if you don't, that's a-okay. Everyone has their personal preferences. Next thing, let's go ahead and let's set up our image planes. To set up our image plane, I just have one reference image, so I'm going to do it here in the front view, and I'm going to set up hit the image plane button. Let's see here, tutorials, tutorial 1, reference images, and yes, this is my mug. Bring that in. Ha! The image is a little bit big. And let me hit W, and let's move this back. And then let's also move it up just so that the kind of the bottom of the mug is sitting right on the origin line. Okay, there we go. We are now ready to model. So let's get started. I'm going to hit space to go into my front view, and then I'm going to hold shift and right mouse button click and drag in order to bring up, since I have nothing selected in my scene, I can bring up my creation menu, and I'm going to create a poly cylinder. And then I'm going to hit Control A to bring up my attribute editor, and Control A again to bring up my channel box. And here under inputs, I'm going to bring the subdivisions down to 16. And then I'm going to zoom in here, hit F to zoom in onto my cylinder, and then I'm going to hit D and V and D to move my origin, and V to snap it. And I'm going to snap it to the bottom. And then I'm just going to hold X, and I'm going to snap it here to the top. V snaps to your vertices, X snaps to your grid. And now R to go into my scale tool, and I'm going to scale it up. We're not going to be exact on this too much. Now right mouse button click and drag, and I'm going to go to my vertices and select just the top vertices, hit W and pull those up to the top, and then hit R and scale them out. Bam. Well done, well done. Now I'm going to deselect, that was right click and drag and hit object mode, and then shift, deselect everything, and then shift right click and drag, and I'm going to get a poly cube. And W for my move tool, and I'm going to move this right here. And then I'm going to right click and drag, and I'm going to say vertex mode, and I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to set this up just like this. And then I'm going to go to face mode, and I'm going to select all these faces. That selects, oops, you can see that if I get rid of these here, you can see that I selected all of these faces. But now if I control click and drag over the faces I don't want to, I'm just left with this one face right here. And now I'm going to hit Control E for extrude, and I'm just going to extrude this out, and then hit G, extrude again, and I'm only really concerned about this top, where the top part is going. I'll fix the bottom in a second. And then I'm going to hit G again, and I'm just going to keep hitting G until I get to here. Now I'm going to right click and drag, go to vertice mode, and I'm going to hit 4 on my keyboard so I can see the wireframe, and W for my move tool, and I'm now going to move these vertices back to where they should be so that we get more of the shape that we're looking for. Okay, now that that is done, right click and drag, oops, select it, right click and drag, face mode, select those faces, deselect those faces, Control E, and again, same thing, we'll just worry about the outside, G, oops, Control, G and W, G and W, G and W, G and W, G and W. Okay, and then right click and drag to vertex mode and select these. Don't worry if it's not 100% because when we smooth this all out, it will all work itself out. Modeling can kind of be like a Disney movie sometimes. It can look pretty bad in the beginning, and then after a little while, you know, in the end it all looks great. So now Control E one more time, and we're gonna just pull this in like that, and I'm gonna hit R, and I'm actually just gonna scale this in so that it's 100% flat. Yeah, there you go. Once my move thing doesn't, once my little widget there doesn't move anymore. W, and then I'm just gonna pull this in and make sure that it intersects completely with with my cup object. And the last thing I'm going to do is go into face mode and select just that bottom face, and I'm going to hit Control E and W, and I'm just going to extrude it down like that. Right click, vertex, and then I'm just going to pull that in. Okay. Last piece of this little puzzle is to right click, go to face mode, select these top faces, extrude them just like we did before, and we're just going to extrude it out, and we're going to pull that face back until it's flat, and then right click and go to vertex and hit W. Alrighty. Oops. Now I'm going to hit my space bar and a space bar in here. And I'm going to just double click, selection drag over my handle, and I'm going to hit R, and then I'm just going to pull it out because I feel like it needs to be a little bit thicker. Okay, now let's right click and go to edge, and I'm going to select this edge, this edge, this edge, and I'm just holding shift and double clicking on one of those edges, and it selects all of those edges within that edge. And then I'm going to shift right click, and I'm going to go to, where's my bevel? Bevel, right there. And it brings up this cool little window right here. And I'm going to bring my fraction to yeah, 1 is, no, let's go even deeper. Let's go 2. Alright. And then bring the segments to 3. Let's try 1.5 and 1.3. Okay, I can't tell what's going on here. Alright, 1.3 looks fairly good. I mean, I know that there's some issues there, but when it smooths out, it'll be okay. But one thing I'm noticing, I'm going to hit Control Z until I get out of my bevel here. One thing I noticed is that my edges did not select down here. And also to kind of get rid of that issue that we saw there where we had some funky geometry, let's just go back into object mode, shift right click, and go to Insert Edge Loop and hit this little box here to bring up my tool options. I'm going to do multiple edge loops, and I'm going to change that to 1. And what this will do is it'll just put it directly in the center. There you go. Now I'm going to reselect all of these, And I'm also going to head down here and select this one and this one and this one and this one. Okay, much better. Right click and drag, bevel, set that to 1, and then set the segments to 3. Ooh, I like that much better than what we were seeing before. Real quick, let's double click on this and select that and hit a bevel on that too. I think that's good. Alright. So now let's select our cup again, right click and go to face mode and select all the faces on the top, and then deselect, control, drag select those faces and hit delete. Okay, now we're going to do a Boolean operation, or Boolean, I don't know how you say that. But anyway, the way that I think about this is green goes. So whatever is green, which is the last thing you selected, so I can select this cup and then shift select this handle, and you can see that the handle is green. That's going to be the one that the operation is done to, unless you do a union operation. So I'm going to hold shift and right click and drag, and then I'm going to come down here to Boolean or Boolean, and I'm going to hit union. And as you can see, we have cut out our handle from what we've got here. And actually, I'm just going to go File, Save Scene As. I always forget to save. It's a good habit. Scenes. I'm just going to say mug underscore 0001 dot. Nope. My ASCII save scene. Okay. Now it's up to us to clean up this geometry real quick. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edge mode, and I'm going to select these edges that the Boolean operation threw in there for us, and I'm going to right click and say delete edge. Okay, now I'm going to count this up, and I'm going to go, there's 1, 2, first I'm actually going to delete half. So face, I'm going to delete this, just hit delete and delete. And then I'm going to select half this, which is select one face, and then within the direction you want to select your ring of faces, shift, double click and delete, and then shift and select, and then shift, double click and delete, and then just double click on the same face and you can select everything. And delete all these. We're just going to work on this one piece and then we can mirror it over. Okay, we're getting close to finishing up here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm guessing it's the same down here. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and go to object mode and then shift right click, and I'm going to go to insert edge loop, and I want this tools. I want everything the same as we had it before. I'm just going to click right there and it's going to add one right in the middle. Now I'm going to reset the tool so that I can place edge loops wherever I want, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and I'm going to do the same with the bottom down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's one there. Oh, we'll get rid of that in a second. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right click, go to edge mode, and select that edge, shift, right click, delete edge. Okay, now go back to object mode, shift right click, and go to multi-cut tool. And then we're going to select this vertex, we're going to go here, and then go up, and we are just going to kind of follow our way up. Once we get there, we can right click and you can see we have all of the edges flowing. This isn't going to be the most beautiful of cups, but it will serve our purpose. Oops. Okay. I'm actually, oh no, I won't do that. And then I'm going to select this. Oops, pardon me. Used to Blender. In Blender you hit the space bar to finish that operation. Okay, I messed up right here. The vertex. Alright, so I'm going to grab this, hit W, and then V, and I'm going to snap all those there, and then select, drag, shift, merge vertices, and merge vertices. Okay, so now we've taken care of most of the issues. One last issue we should take care of is that this is going to be an n-gon, this is an n-gon, and down here is an n-gon. So let's go and let's shift right click and go to our insert edge loop tool, reset the tool, and then multiple edge loops in one. Let's add an edge loop down here and one up here. And then using our multi-cut tool, let's do cut there, and then complete the cut, and then take this cut, and I believe, yeah, if you hold shift, then you can cut, oops, you can cut directly to the center there. And that leaves us with a triangle, but that's okay in this instance. And cut here, right click, and then cut here and shift and right click. Okay. Last but not least, here, shift and cut the middle, and then cut this. Alright. Now that we have that, let's right click and go to object mode, and then we'll go to edit, delete by type, history, and I believe we are good there. We don't need to clear any transforms because there aren't any. Let's see where our pivot is. Our pivot's now kind of there in the middle of where both of the objects were. So let's hit D. Ooh. Let's hit D and V, and then middle mouse button drag, and drag that right there to the bottom. And then we can hit Control D, and then within our channel box, let's see, that's our, which axis is that? Sorry, it's the Z or Z axis. We'll say -1, and now we have all of our cut. So let's shift, select both sides, and then with shift still selected, right mouse button drag, go down to combine, and then go to our vertex mode and select everything, and then shift, right mouse button drag, merge vertices, and merge vertices. Okay, and now go back into object mode and right click and go to edge and double click, and you should see that you can select the entire edge ring. Now let's go back into our front view and shift, oh, I'm sorry, first, while we're in our perspective view, let's do shift, right click and extrude edge, and then hit R for scale, and let's scale it in just a little bit. Now we go to our front view, shift, right click and extrude, W for down, and let's extrude it all the way down, and then R for oops, what's going on? Oh, there we go. And we can just bring that in, bring it down, and let's bring it in just a little bit more. We are so close to finishing up. Now let's do Control E for extrude and R, and let's bring it in to about there, and then Control E one more time and R about there, and then Control E, R, and that now we can shift right click and drag, and we can go merge / collapse and merge to center. Now let's just add a few bevels. Right click, go to edge, double click this edge, and then go to bevel and add 2 segments to that. Get the bottom of the cup here, right click, go to bevel, and let's take that to 1, and then add 3 segments to that. Now here at the bottom, right click and drag, or double click, I'm sorry, bevel, yeah, that's fine, and add 3 segments to that. And now, just for good measure, let's select these at the bottom here, and if we look at the top, make sure we didn't select anything by chance. Okay, Control E and R, we're going to kind of extrude this in, and then we're going to hit Control E again, but this time we're going to pull it up. If we pull it up too high, we go into the bottom of the cup, but if we pull it up like that, not enough to go into the bottom of the cup, and then we can scale that in. And this just kind of gives the cup a little more of a realistic shape if anyone ever needs to use the underside of the cup. And then I can just select both of those edges, edge loops and bevel edge, and now I have a nice looking cup. Okay, so I have my cup, edit, delete by type, history. Now, as you can see, that this cup, well, you can't see the top inside of it, but the inside is white and the outside is kind of this tannish color. So the transition happens here on the edge. So I'm going to go edge, and I'm going to double click and right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into face mode, and I'm going to select this face and then shift select this face, and then I'm going to hit, I believe it's shift and then the greater than key, and I can select all of these in the bottom. And I'm going to go to my UV editor, selecting those, and then I'm going to go UV, I'm going to go create UV, and I'm going to say planar, nope. Yeah, I'm just actually going to go to the top view. And then with that view selected, I'm going to say create and camera based, and you can see that it creates that, and then I'm just going to move that out of the way, and then here I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select this one, and then shift and greater than sign, and you can see that that selects kind of everything. And then I'm going to go create and cylindrical. So that's the inside of my cup. Now let's select here, and again I'm just doing shift and greater than sign to select my handle, and then I'm just going to deselect anything that is not a part of the handle. And I'm going to go create cylindrical. I'm just going to go automatic for that one. Oops. Just move that out of the way. And then, here at the bottom, again, I'm going to select these ones. And from the top, I'm gonna camera based. Okay, and then I'm gonna select all these faces. And then I'm going to go select and inverse. Ooh, I missed some there. Those will mess it up. We'll come back and get that in a second. Okay, after getting all of that, then I'll go create cylindrical. That's the front of my cup. Now I'm going to grab all of my handle faces, and I'm going to come here to the front view and say create camera based. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of scale it so it looks a little better. Alright. Now I can lay out my UVs real quick. Oops. W. So I'm not going to worry about their sizes so much. I am kind of worried about what pieces go where. So I'm going to grab these. So this is my inside of my cup here. I'm kind of looking for things that are the same. So I have my inside of my cup on my on the bottom here, and the outside of the cup on the top, since those are going to be different. And okay, now that I have that, I'll select everything and I will say image UV snapshot. I'm going to say 1024 and the last thing I'm going to do is put it in the right. There's no textures. I'm going to say text mug underscore snapshot, and I'm going to make it a PNG. Click OK. Now let's open up Photoshop. How are we doing on time here? Ooh, we're running into the half-an-hour mark. I'm going to have to learn how to speed this stuff up. Shift S to save. Where are you, Photoshop? While we're waiting, we can navigate to our textures. That's our snapshot. Pardon my computer's speed. This isn't my good computer. Alright. Almost there. File, new. Almost there. Almost there. Okay. Change this to pixels and 1024. Oops. And 1024. Create. And mug. Alrighty. Thank you, Photoshop. I don't know everything there is to know, but I don't need a learning tab. Again, pardon this computer speed. Close tab group. Okay. I'm going to set this top part to, actually I can just leave it. And I'm going to hit Control Shift N for a new layer. And I'm just going to take a box. We're just going to do simple stuff, and I'll put it. I'll draw a box around all the things that are the same, and I'll make it. let's make it kind of a light blue, something like that. Then I'm going to take my text tool, Control-Shift-N again, and I'm just going to make some text. And I'm going to say something like world's best boss. I like The Office. We will, okay, center that text. And I know that this font is not, it's not the best, but it will do for our purposes. So we'll kind of make that larger, and we'll put it in between. Okay? And then, last thing is we will change that font color T to white. Alright, and then the other thing is, the rest is just white. Okay, so now I can just turn off my snapshot here, and then hit Control-Shift-S, and change that to a PNG, and I'm just going to say mug_texture. And we'll save that into the correct folder. Textures, save. Okay. Now we are in Maya, and Maya's new renderer is, let's hit edit, delete by type history. So right click and drag, new material. I have my Arnold turned on. If you need to turn on Arnold, you can go to Windows, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager, and find the M2A and AI Standard Surface. And then here in the whiskey, click that little box, go to File, and navigate once again to our texture we just created. And we'll say 6. Alright, so it's not perfect, but that's okay. That's why we have this here. Let's open up our UV editor again. If I was really working, if this was for anyone other than myself, I'd probably fix this in the Photoshop file. But here we can just grab this and pull it over. Alright, that looks pretty good. Okay, last but not least, let's hit 3 to see what it looks like smoothed. I don't like that there. It's not the end of the world. And I don't like that there. It's also not the end of the world. Let's just see what it looks like rendered real quick. We can go to Arnold and drop in a sky dome light, and then Arnold, and drop in, just go to the Arnold render view, and let's make this renderable. Set all of these to 1, and set the AAs to 2. Go. Whew. That light is bright. Let's turn the intensity to 0.1. I don't know. Anyway, let's try one more thing. Let's just add an area light. And then that area light we can turn up exposure of 1. Turn it up to 50. think the problem is? Oh, you know what the problem is? I needed to put that in color. Rookie mistake. PNG. There you go. Now you can see it. Let's brighten it up a little bit. Alright, and then of course you can play with the shader here. Turn down the specularity to something like that, and add a little roughness, add a little texture. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This tutorial took about 20 minutes longer than I thought it should have. I'm still learning, but I appreciate you watching. My goal with these is that when you're done watching this, you would end up with a finished model, a finished asset. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate any love you can send this way, and I will see you next time.